can't be found. When you find out you can live without.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Hunter Loves Voiceplay podcast, Geoff edition. So, I am back with the one that started it all on Geoff's channel, and this one is none other than the Bare Necessities. So, let me go back here a minute and kind of try to remember just how this one had kind of played out. So, this was back in 2020, I believe. So that's like 3 years ago. That's really hard to, to remember that far back because days just blend into one. So, with Bare Necessities, I was not expecting him to do this one at all. And I think this was before I became a patron of Geoff's. It's really hard for me to remember when I started my patronage. Because on Patreon you did have the chance to look back and see when you had actually started. But now it doesn't give you that function anymore. So it's like, well, crap. It's like I kind of would like to know when exactly I started, but that's fine. So with Bare Necessities, who doesn't like The Jungle Book? I mean, there are some people that don't like the movie or don't like the book. I always did like that song in the movie. I always had an admiration for Phil Harris because he just brought the fun. And he was also like he was a character actor, obviously, like he did Thomas O'Malley and the Aristocats. He did, I think Little John in Robin Hood. Oh, Robin Hood. Ask Geoff about how he feels about Robin Hood, and he'll tell you. I don't think he'll ever do a cover of Robin Hood and Little John because he did his own version, and it's hilarious. Anyway, I'm getting distracted here. So, Bare Necessities. Phil Harris, great guy. I loved his stuff growing up when I was watching it. And I would always go back and rewatch some of the movies that he was included in because he was just so much fun, like being a jazz entertainer of whatever he did in his career. He was famous for it. So with Bare Necessities in this one, I like how Geoff started it off with the instrumental. Like he gave us an introduction into what the song is, even though if you weren't familiar with it, you definitely would just, like, at least for me, I had been transported into that scene of the movie. And that usually happens when I have a good cover in front of me and I'm listening to it. It always transports me. If it's able to transport me into that place and time or into the media that this song has been brought from, you get a gold star right there because it just means that it's like you're paying attention to what you're doing. And you also are getting the message across and keeping my attention because I have a very short attention span. And if you cannot keep my attention for a long period of time, I lose interest. But Geoff did not. It was interesting to see, because he starts it off and then he was given thanks to Native Instruments, which was the acoustic guitar. And unbeknownst to me, I was like, well, wait a minute. I was like, he can't play guitar. So then how the hell did that actually happen? But then I found out later that he was using Logic, and that was all part of his DAW and the MIDI process. So, those phrases were unknown to me at the time. DAW and MIDI, they were just unknown to me. Like, I had no idea what they meant. So then once I had researched it, I was like, oh, okay, I get the part of your gibberish. So yeah, he starts out with this, like, just fun acoustic rhythm and just kind of keeping it classy to the first one, but also putting it a little bit more upbeat, like because the original is kind of just at at a beat where it's like, yes, it's catchy, but it's like it could be catchier, and Geoff did that. And I'm always a sucker for acoustic guitar. Like, I absolutely love acoustic guitar. But, this one, it's like, you can't help but, like, be moving your head in synchronization with his, obviously. And the editing on the video is pretty interesting too, because I wasn't expecting him to. I wasn't expecting the whole clone thing. I was not expecting him to do the clones. And when I saw that there was like 4 of them, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, he took it kind of like the Peter Hollins route. And appreciated that, because that's a whole different level of editing and a whole different level of filming and just work involved. And the backgrounds were fun too, because it's like it changes color as you're watching it, and it's just super awesome that way. And I would have to say, like, that was the first time that I heard him harmonize with himself. Absolutely loved it. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, he's harmonizing with himself. That is incredible. And I think probably one of my favorite parts throughout this whole thing is probably when he gets to, like, I would say maybe like the second verse, but kind of just like, because he kind of created his own bridge a little bit in this one. Because he just gets to like look for the bare necessities, and then there's like guitar strings, and then necessities, but he's just in the lower parts of his range, and I'm like, this is tickling my brain. I love it. It was just such a creative twist on that specific part of the song, and I appreciate that so very much. He did so well with it. Like, his artistry for taking a cover and then spinning it on its head and then making it into something else that's completely different. It's just always admired, really. And for him to have this as like his very first video, I played that sucker on repeat for months. And it just is an endorphin release. It just releases all those happy chemicals in your brain. And it's like, no matter what kind of day you're having, if you're listening to that, if you're not tapping your foot or tapping your pen or, just dancing like an idiot and, people are watching you, that's totally fine, because it's like you're listening to an amazing piece of music that is just so fun. It just spills out fun. And Geoff, he did an amazing job with that. And, for him just to kind of pick a very catchy track just to accompany it, and with the harmonizing and the, just everything. Like, it's a shorter song, obviously, but he put in his own little creative twists, and I just enjoyed every single one. And, like, when it comes to, now when you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear, he just kind of gives you that look of like, are you sure that you want to do that? Like, you think that that's a good idea? But the raised eyebrow always gets me. It's just like, it's like he's always looking at you like, yeah, you don't want to do that. But and I think for like his first video, for him to just to go out on a limb and kind of do that as like his first solo work, high five to him, because it was amazing. And I think moving on with that, like through my journey of just checking him out and like knowing of him and knowing that his channel had existed, I was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, what does he have in store? And then eventually, I think it was like Headless Horseman came out next. I'm trying to think, because it was like, there were so many things that came out in that same year. I think it was October. Yeah, because I think Bare Necessities came out in August, September, one of those places. I don't know, I could be wrong, and I don't want to look it up. But because then I think once Headless Horseman came out, I'm like, dude, take my money. And I started at the dollar tier in Patreon, because I think once he sent out that Patreon video on his channel, I was like, okay, what's this about? And I had pondered it so long. I had just sat there and I'm like, do I want to give him money? Do I not want to give him money? Do I what? But I'm like, damn it, it's my money. I'm working a full-time job, I'm making money, might as well give it to him. So I gave him my support at the dollar tier, and I think I hit him up on Instagram, and I'm like, my bank is non-existent, but can I still send love? And he was like, yeah. He was like, of course. And I was like, okay. And then in the next couple of months, I was like, you know what? You're getting my money because you're doing amazing stuff over there. And then sure enough, I ended up becoming a patron of Voiceplay too, because I'm like, I can't support one and not support the other one. And then it became a patty cake patron. So, I mean, all three of those ones you should support, you guys, because they're such a versatile group of folks. Just saying. But we're not here to talk about Voiceplay. We're here to talk about Geoff. Yes. Bare Necessities. Super fun. It's colorful. Like, I mean, if the music isn't what's getting to you, the visuals will. Like, it's just the color changing that I absolutely enjoy in this one, because it's just like, and like, his timing on it of the lighting changes is perfect, because it's just like, it changes as like the song goes along, and I'm just like, that is awesome. Just for it to change with the rhythm of the song is just a good change up. And his facial expressions too. I think that's another thing is what gets me is his facial expression, because he's just, Geoff brought like charisma to his performance of this one. And it's so fun. I mean, how many more times have I actually said that? But yeah, it's just he just did his own thing with it, and I enjoy it so very much. It's just something that is like, okay, I need this today. If I'm having a bad day, I will pull that one up and just listen to it, which is a thing, because I should probably listen to it again. Oh yeah, 3 years ago. Oh, it's at 2.4 million views. Holy crap! I wasn't even paying attention. Oh, there's 5. There was 5 clones, and then he went down to 4. Well, yeah, because considering that, like, him as a whole, it's funny. I don't know if you're gonna hear this in the background, but hang on. I'm gonna try to mute this as quickly as I can. Okay, there we go. Yeah, because it's like there's green, there's yellowish orange, red, grayish blue, and then blue. And he looks good in all those colors. And then there's the album artwork, like the bear and the. I heard people had got that tattooed onto their body, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. But also, it's like you're supporting an artist in your skin, so that's also pretty amazing too. Yeah, this looks so strange watching it with no sound. And the transition is pretty nice too. Like, it's kind of like, it was just like experimental, and like just to see like what he could possibly do with it. And like, he's sitting in front of a microphone, like just did his own thing with it. And I'm like, this is so interesting, and this is so different and so new, and I love it. And his hair is just perfect. It's like not moving at all. Like, I'm wondering, I'm like, how many cans of hairspray did you have to put in your hair? Like that mild little smile too. I love it. His singer smile. Like, he's enjoying it too. Like he's enjoying it as much as he can, because, like sitting in front of a microphone and trying to have fun with it is so super fun. Yeah, there's not a lot of like overly creative elements to this one, because again, it was experimental. Oh, he looks really cute where I paused it right now. Anyway, yeah, it was a very experimental process for him. And like, it was just him breaching out into the world of solo music and seeing what he could do. But compared to now and the stuff that he's done throughout, like the past 3 years, is just, he started out as a baby, and now he's like growing into this world of, doing monumental stuff, considering that, he just kind of started with maybe possibly just a piece of software, and then maybe just one camera. So, And to know that it's made to like 2.4 million views within the past 3 years is pretty impeccable, really. Yeah, a lot of people have suggested Hellfire for him, and I think Patreon is where it's at, because this was just yeah. Because I'm looking at the description, and it says this version of the song was produced, arranged, and singed by yours truly. Please be kind on the upper harmony parts. I'm not a tenor. Your upper harmony, please. I love it. Stop. I know you're not a tenor, but geez. Mixed by Ed Boyer. Thank you, Ed. Yes, Ed did good. Yeah, it was. He gave Native Instruments session guitarist. Strummed acoustic. Yeah, and he's been big on strummed acoustic. I think, like, any time you listen to a Geoff cover, you're gonna hear some of those elements in there. And I'm like, oh, I love it. Because he just kind of kept... my cursor right now is poking him in the eye. That's hilarious. Sorry, buddy. I'll get that out of your eye there for you. Just strummed acoustic is pretty interesting. And, like, it's always nice to see which direction he's taken a certain song on the, like, Logic side of things. And what I mean by Logic, I mean, like, the software that he uses. Because he's just used different MIDI tracks and different formats that it's just like, I never thought that would be possible, you know? Because, like, he could have easily had become one of those cover artists that just used the same track over and over and over and over and just sang the song and did the thing. But with Geoff, no. He's always bringing in new musical elements and ones that he loves to hear. And I always wonder, like, that's always a question that I've wanted to have answered, but I've never actually asked it. Because I think that somebody else probably asked it before I did. But I've always wondered, it's like, when does he know that it's too much? Like, how does he know? Like, what's the feeling that he has? Because there's probably so many elements out there that he could choose and so many tracks that he could put in there. How does he not go overboard with it? Like, I think he just probably has that feeling, and he probably, like, he knows what he wants to do with it. But, I mean, I know for me, I probably would put in way too much and then be like, I've overproduced this to beat hell. And, like, I think it just has to be the arranger's decision just to be like, yeah, this needs, like 150 tracks of harmony. Or in Lane's case, like 90 some tracks of drums. Like, oh. This is Halloween. I was listening to This Is Halloween not too long ago, and I was just like, the drum tracks. Knowing just how many drum tracks are in that thing, but then also listening to it, I'm like, Lane. Good lord. Yeah, Bare Necessities, in a nutshell, is fun, it's toe tapping, it's hand tapping, it's dance worthy, it's just a beat, it's just happy. If I had to tag an emotion to it, I would just say that it is a happy song. Beautiful arrangement style, just something that, was experimental for the time and for the start of Geoff's channel. But he eventually ended up turning it into something that was pretty amazing. So, thank you, Geoff, for that very first song for us. And it's been my pleasure to support you and to watch you grow in your videos as much as you have, and just to see all of the amazingness that you're capable of. So definitely go and support him on Patreon, you guys. It is worth it. He's just done amazing work. And I think Bare Necessities, for his first one, was kind of just a tickle of what, kind of like a sneak preview into what he was capable of. Because as time goes on, and with the support that he's got from his Patreon community, and as that grew, he's grown immensely. Like, Bare Necessities barely holds a candle to what he has done now. So that's saying a lot. And I'm not bashing Bare Necessities at all, but Bare Necessities was his little egg that grew from his creative imagination and has now put into all of these other projects that he has done, and you just look back and you're like, dude, look at what you've accomplished. Like, that is incredible. So I'm super proud. I'm super proud to have supported him for as long as I have. And I don't show any signs of stopping. Unless if something happens financially to me, there's no way that I'm going to be stopping supporting him at all. The least I could do is, like, the tier that I'm at now maybe might have to go down a couple rungs, but depending. But as of right now, I'm perfectly comfortable, and I love supporting him with how I have been. So that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. I've almost about burped. I'm almost out of coffee. I need water. So thank you guys so much for watching. Put your suggestions in the comments for what you want to see in the next episode of the Geoff edition, and I will see what I can come up with for you guys next time. Go check out Bare Necessities. Go support Geoff on his Patreon. It is worth it, I guarantee you. Yeah, we will see you next time. Bye, guys.